Good day, everybody. My name is Dmitry Savenkov. I'm Chief Commercial Officer of Meerland, Ukraine. I did this presentation in March 22, right after all this started in my country. And this is the first time I would like to share our experience, what happened with Logistic during war conditions. And my special thanks to the Freight Club management to giving me this opportunity. Well, you just can imagine. The first thing you met that all infrastructure became closed. For example, in Odessa, one feeder vessel even didn't finish his discharging operation, left at once, as was announced war situation. So airport sky closed, airport closed, all, all typical roads, all standard operation procedures you get used to, broken. So this is a time when you make fast decision to control the traffic which exists in your company. So you need to remove it to other ports, third countries, and so on. All vessels calls canceled, all export cargo remains in port. We met a huge problem when all cargo stuck in Odessa port, for example, and it took a long time, about 6-9 months, to deliver it to final destination. For sure, carriers are quite open to give you free time for demurrage or other charges, but it's not enough because it usually can be only 5-6 weeks only. But believe me, this is not enough to make a decision or to pick up a cargo. All containers in transportation discharge in any ports which carrier desire. So you can imagine, for example, from Far East to Black Sea, in any place, container destination, in our case, Ukraine, was discharged in all different regions, and then all goes painfully slow, let me say like that, because carrier asks you for COD, change of destination, for new instructions. You have to discuss it with your client, but your client may not answer your phones or email because he is in zone which war already in, and so there is some mess for sure. So you have to redirect it to destination you know at least. No, for sure, internal roads were closed and are closed. Bridges and infrastructure within country closed as well. And some destinations became non-reachable. Well, insurance. There is no insurance anymore. So it's on ship owner's risk for sure. Well, for sure, no debts available to collect. You can't collect anything any longer. So all your services automatically became on prepaid basis because next day maybe there is no someone to collect your debt or your money. Or for example, missile can hit warehouse of your client and he became a bankrupt. You know you know very well what it means, yeah. Can be no connections not only with client, but if you have a few offices. For example, in our case, we had an office in Mariupol, and there was no connection from first day of March. And all our operation team, all of them were in Mariupol without any connection to email, to phone, and so on. So you had to run business in this case. So you can be ready for this for sure, but you can imagine just that you can be alone with less personnel, maybe 5-10% from total your people, and you have to handle all your shipments, all your booking, all your activities in such situation. For sure, all claims shifted to be considered right after the war. No credit terms available any longer, but believe me, now, after 2 years, people get used to everything, and now our clients claiming us to give them some credit terms like like a normal time. All your subcontractors at once required you to pay all debts. So there are no more credit terms from your subcontract for sure. So main questions you have is where is everything, where is secure place for your client, your consignee to accept his cargo, and all transport chains are broken. And as I said already, the main questions where to send cargo in transport status. Choice of third country. It's a little bit same situation like when any carrier announced bankruptcy. You know, they're discharging usually container in any harbor when they consider it safe. So here is almost same typical situation, let me say like that. And you may have lost cargo because you can't reach your client. You don't know what's happened with him because he can be under heart attack, he can be, disappeared. Some of our clients came back after, let's say, a few weeks after invasion because they moved or some other reasons, or they had to secure their families, You meet kind of mess, and I can't say you don't know what to do, but you have to be very flexible in it and keep your business protected from claims, because if you have lost cargo, for sure you have problem with your subcontractor and so on and so on. So there are for sure some international conferences that run the business, but it can be a big problem. For example, we had a problem with one of our subcontractors because he applied us to pay for, let me say, about 300,000 freight debts for all containers. So we didn't have our cargo owners in the same moment. Okay, we set it up, but it takes time because you pay part by part against release or something, and you have to find the choice. And this is, very short-term decision-making terms. So you have to think and you have to do as fast as possible to avoid any additional losses, because losses coming from any side, even you don't expect it. Well, the situation is that no more customer stories. I mean, no more history with your client. If you have client you work with, for example, 10 years, you have to choose now to stay with credit terms or ask for prepayment, or what. That's the, let me say, tough times for very difficult solution, but you have to choose what is more important for you, to secure this business and keep your people safe with you, or follow your client solutions. So it can be like this. So as I already said, no more credits, no more debts, nothing. You try to keep all things secure as much as possible, because you are actually remain alone with huge financial issues, with cargo, to secure your team and so on, so on. What else we met in Ukraine that days? Fuel is a problem for road freight, for haulers. It's difficult to find a truck. It's difficult to know what direction is reachable, what is not, because situation changeable on daily basis. So today you got one thing, tomorrow area which is supposed to be safe is not. So long line on borders, because people moving personal belongings, and for sure tracking. Thanks God that Ukraine has land border and long ones. So Logistic was reswitched by third countries. As soon as Ukrainian ports were closed, they were closed at once on 21st of February. So cargo was sent to Poland, to Constanța, to Germany, to Slovenia, and all ports which were available at that moment. And, well, price is not important anymore because no one cares about the cost. I mean, everyone cares about cargo. For sure, sometimes value of cargo can be similar to cost of transportation, but not in such cases. Well, it was road freight evolution because the first days after invasion, all Ukrainian haulers offered free of charge deliveries for humanitarian aid from Europe to Ukraine, only for fuel cost. But export was increasing, let's say, double price. So for sure they covered the expenses for export, but import first couple of weeks were free of charge in terms of humanitarian aid deliveries. Then for sure it's changed. Situation became more or less stable. Okay, how to say stable? New logistic chains, new routing, new conditions. As I said, people get used to everything. So we felt stable about maybe after 6 months, about June. In case of our company, we had 70% of our operation team in Mariupol. It was our backup office. So we decided like that. In Ukraine, we used to have 3 offices, one in Kyiv, one in Odessa, and one in Mariupol. You know, after 10 years, we were absolutely ready to evacuate our team to different places, and this internal program in our company was existing. But as soon as invasion started, no one moved in the first day, just a couple of people, because, you know, people don't want to leave their premises, houses, and way of living. And actually, we didn't believe it may happen. I mean, we already lived 7 or 8 years in war condition in Mariupol region. So all team stayed in the city, and then they got out from about middle of March and so on. And we were ready to give them place for work in office and accommodation in Poland at once. So, but it took us a few months to make a situation stable, at least within our company and corporation. Well, a few words about rail freight, because it's also became very important in terms of connection Ukraine with European Union countries. On the beginning, for sure, it was a mess because no one was able to fix the rain plan because no one was ready to predict any information that may arise. You know, all connection broken. You can sometimes reach who is able to transship your cargo. And the planning was, you know, on, let me say, on the spot basis in this very moment. So you can make any forecast for, you know, it's usually a very short-term planning. So you don't think about what's going to be in next month or in next quarter or in next half of year. You're just doing things in this very moment or maybe week ahead. Then more situation became stable, then more you able to plan for more long term. No, if Ukraine, you know, Ukraine is agricultural export country. Our company is not involved much in this business, but we know from our colleagues who are that it was a huge problem with railway cars, with export deliveries, and with logistic for grain shipments. Because, for example, if we are talking about agricultural sector economic of Ukraine, there is no cost for product, there is no cost for logistic, there is nothing. Because if you got used to ship from Odessa, to compare to ship it via Constanța became, let's say, 50, 70 US dollars less per metric ton, but for grain it's too much, because marginality of this business is not like other fields. So these are three main ports for grain shipments or for bulk shipments, let's say, from Ukraine, like used to be Yuzhny, now we call it Pivdenny. There is a place for this terminal, Odessa and Chernomorsk. And you can imagine in cargo move to Constanța. We are not talking to Bulgarian port because they don't have sophisticated infrastructure to handle more businesses for Ukraine especially. And you can imagine logistic, how much more it may cost. Already third year of this, what we got now. Ukraine met some problems with I think all of you heard about strike on the borders. And due to this reason, finally, well, let's say there is no heaven on earth. Ukraine also is not far for being perfect, like in terms of government management, in terms of economy change solution and changing. They apply electronic line for export, and it created a huge line of trailers for Ukrainian export from Ukraine to European Union country. For now, trailer should wait his turn to pass the border 14, 16 days because of capacity of points on the border. For now, thanks God, empty trailers can go free. Road freight now is back to at least considerable cost. Grain shipment more or less also okay, and for container shipments and for air freight shipments we are using Ukrainian cargo goes through mainly Poland and Romania. If we're talking about marine shipments, these are Gdańsk, Gdynia in Poland and Constanța in Romania. So you may vary or you may choose depending on your final destination in Ukraine. Also, there are many rail services, block trains from ports to a certain destination in Ukraine, and the central and west part more or less okay, if we can say in such situation term like okay. So you may just choose your destination, and the way the cost of transportation more or less normal at the moment, because all of us we remember the huge freights from Far East. Now total delivery costs less. So, well, what is more difficult for you? First of all, I think it's most difficult to motivate yourself, because as they say, the chief never panics. But when you come to office, you see your staff, and you have to keep them motivated, because all their thought is far away from the office, far away for being in the front of the desk. That's the main issue. To motivate personnel when, for example, your manager doesn't have connection with his family, it's a difficult subject. So, but you have to do it. Otherwise, No, for sure to keep them active, because you are, as the boss, you are the example for all your people how to do that. I consider if we are still working, and thanks again, I'm here, so we did things well, and I wish never share this experience, for sure, but it is as it is, yeah? Thank you so much for your attention. And Slava Ukraini. And thank you. One more thing I would like to add. Thank you so much for your support. We do feel it. And if even personally you do nothing, you pay taxes to your government assists to our country. Thank you for your keeping activities, and thank you so much. We do feel it, yeah, sure. It's really keeps us moving further, because our enemy is strong, but we do feel your support. Thanks again.